Most people live as if the signs of the universe are coincidences, random noises from a purposeless reality. But there are times when the very fabric of existence folds before our eyes, creating luminous cracks through which consciousness can pass if it is awake. Portal 2222 is one of those moments. An energetic alignment so powerful that it silences logic and invites the soul to return to its true axis. He's not just a number. It is a vibrational language that speaks directly to our energy field, activating dormant codes, clearing dense patterns, and redesigning the possibilities of our path. Ignoring this warning is not just a choice. It is a voluntary disconnection from the flow of creation. And like all energy choices, it has consequences. There are 6 occult movements that unfold when one turns their back on the opening of Portal 2222, and each of them reverberates in silence until pain or lucidity brings the soul back to its center. The first thing that happens is the closure of synchronicities. Portal 2222 is like an invisible conductor who arranges life events with divine precision. When it opens, coincidences intensify. The right encounters approach. Answers come even before questions. But by ignoring it, a person enters an opaque, vibrational field where signals seem to fail and connections lose their rhythm. It's not that the universe stops talking. It is that the person is no longer attuned to the frequency where the messages are clear. She begins to walk in circles, reviving old patterns, relating to the same conflicts disguised in different faces. Life loses its fluidity and begins to weigh. What was supposed to be alignment has become friction, and what was supposed to be lightness becomes endurance. The second consequence is the intensification of internal noises. Whenever a portal like 2222 opens, it brings a wave of vibrational purification. It dislodges the shadows, illuminates what was hidden, and forces the unconscious to reveal what was repressed. It is a call to clean the inner house. Ignoring this movement is like closing your eyes in the face of an inevitable energetic cleaning. The damned energy begins to create mental noises, emotional crises, and a sense of disconnection with oneself. The mind becomes noisier, the heart more anxious, and the body more tired. The person feels that he is being pulled down, even without understanding why. This happens because what is not released accumulates. And what accumulates, sooner or later overflows. The third thing that manifests itself is the weakening of the energy field. Portals like the 2222 function as spiritual recharging stations. They increase personal magnetism, potentiate intuition, and strengthen the aura against external influences. By ignoring this force field, a person becomes more vulnerable to other people's energies, toxic environments, and negative thoughts. She feels an inexplicable tiredness, a persistent lack of focus, a difficulty in keeping her own vibration stable. Often this manifests itself as insomnia, lack of enthusiasm, or a kind of spiritual apathy. The field begins to close, and access to the subtler dimensions becomes limited. As if the soul lost the signal of its internal GPS, the fourth consequence is the postponement of essential purposes. Each portal carries with it mission keys. 2222, in particular, is linked to the materialization of purpose with balance and harmony. It is a code of conscious manifestation, which aligns the desires of the ego with the longings of the soul. When ignored, projects stall, ideas do not come to fruition, and the person feels that he is always starting from scratch. She can even act, but she feels that something is missing, as if her actions are disconnected from a deeper sense. This postponement is not a punishment, but a pause until consciousness is ready to resume the path. However, the more one ignores, the call the more distant the purpose seems to become, and the heavier the journey becomes. The fifth thing that occurs is the loss of vibrational alignment with cosmic time. 2222 marks not just a date on the human calendar, but an intersection between multiple timelines. It's a time when small decisions make huge impacts, where subtle choices can open up completely different realities. Ignoring this turning point is like missing the right train at the right time. The person enters a timeline where everything seems delayed, where things take longer to happen, and where answers do not come clearly. She feels that she is out of step, as if she is always running after what should have already come. This mismatch generates frustration, discouragement, and often a feeling that life is stuck for no apparent reason. The sixth, and perhaps most profound consequence, is the detachment from the divine spark. Every portal is a direct opening between human consciousness and source, a moment of reconnection with what is eternal, sacred, and essential. To ignore this call is, in a way, to deny this connection. The soul feels this separation as a subtle mourning, a nameless longing, a void that nothing in the world can fill. A person can go on living, but he lives by half. You can achieve things, but you don't feel full. The divine spark is not extinguished, but is withdrawn. And when she retracts, everything seems darker, more confused, more mechanical. This is the highest price of all, losing direct contact with what we are in essence. Portal 2222 is one of those rare opportunities where heaven comes close to earth, and spirit can, for an instant, remember who it is. It is not an event to be understood with the mind, but felt with the heart. It's not about believing, but about realizing. The call does not come with fanfare, but with subtlety. He whispers in the details, in the repeated numbers, in the discreet omens. And if you're listening to this now, it's no accident. Maybe there's still time. Time to realign, to silence, to make room for what is greater than you. The portal does not require perfection, but presence. It does not require ready answers, but a willingness to listen. What is being asked is simple and profound. Stop. Breathe. Look inside. Feel what is being shown between the layers of reality. And choose. Because the portal does not pass. He crosses. And only those who cross paths with him discover what exists on the other side. Perhaps the greatest illusion that the ego feeds is the idea that there will always be a next chance, a new moment, another opportunity. But sacred time does not operate on the same laws as chronological time. It is cyclical, yes, but it is also precise and rare. Portal 2222 is not just a numerical repetition. He is an energetic summons that takes place on an exact spiritual timeline, where invisible forces intertwine to rewrite destinies. When this window opens, there is an intense acceleration in the vibrational field of the earth, and consequently, in the consciousness of all beings. This acceleration does not wait. It demands readiness. It demands that we be with our feet on earth and our soul in heaven. Ignoring this is like refusing a divine call, not out of malice, but out of distraction, and spiritual distraction has a profound cost. It disconnects us from our soul mission. Many will say that this is exaggeration, that portals, frequencies, energetic codes are only abstractions of the mystical mind. But the truth is that everything vibrates. Everything responds. And frequency 2222 carries with it the vibrational signature of creation in balance. It is the meeting point between the sacred masculine and feminine, between conscious action and deep intuition. When this energy activates and does not find Internal space to manifest, it reverberates as chaos, as confusion, as a feeling of being in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. And this is exactly what begins to happen to those who ignore this warning. External reality becomes a distorted reflection of internal disconnection. The choices lose their luster. Relationships become repetitive. Time seems to run without bearing fruit. Life turns into a cycle of survival, where everything is done with effort, but little results in fulfillment. This is the symptom of a soul misaligned with its cosmic moment. It's like planting seeds in dry soil, hoping for a harvest that never comes. Portal 2222 is also a call to change this inner soil, to renew the land of the soul, to heal old wounds that continue to create unconscious patterns. And when this process is delayed, the wounds gain strength. They begin to command decisions, to choose paths, to attract exactly what the soul fears most, another subtle, yet devastating consequence of ignoring the 2222 portal is the fragmentation of energetic identity. Each of us carries a unique vibrational signature, like a fingerprint of the soul. That signature aligns with different frequencies throughout the journey, and some of those frequencies are updated during times like this. The 2222 is a kind of spiritual upgrade, an upgrade of consciousness, a realignment with the highest version of yourself. By not accessing this update, the person continues to operate with old patterns, reacting with outdated emotions, creating with tools that are no longer effective. And the inner world begins to become obsolete, tired, outdated. This generates discomfort, irritation, and often unexplained distress. Many try to solve this emptiness with external changes, new work, new relationships, new distractions. But the origin of emptiness is internal. It is the soul trying to remember who it is, and not finding resonance in the world around. This happens because the soul has already been called to a new stage, but the ego has not listened. The body did not align. The mind has not quieted, and the portal passed, leaving behind not a punishment, but an echo, a constant whisper that something essential was lost at that moment. It is important to understand that portals like 2222 do not work as magic promises. They do not bring ready-made solutions, nor instant miracles. They open paths. They offer directions. They expand perception. But it all depends on the choice. And this choice is made in the silence of the soul, at the instant when one decides to stop ignoring one's own inner calls. When that moment happens, when the person finally recognizes that what they are feeling is not madness, not drama, not ordinary tiredness, but a real energetic calling, then the portal begins to reopen from within. Because, deep down, the portal was never out. It has always been within us, waiting for vibrational permission to manifest in external reality. What is at stake is not only the success of a project, the harmony of a relationship, or the achievement of a goal. What is at stake is the awakening of consciousness, the reminder that life is not random, that every numerical repetition, every inexplicable sensation, every sudden intuition is a code, and that these codes are invitations from creation for us to participate consciously in our destiny. To ignore these invitations is to live on the fringes of truth itself. It is accepting an existence where everything seems normal, but nothing is really alive. If you feel that you are being called now, if the number 2222 has begun to appear frequently, if your intuition is more active, if strange dreams have begun to repeat, if the feeling of being in transition has intensified, do not ignore it. Don't rationalize. Don't wait for everything to make sense in order to act. The portal does not need to be understood. It needs to be lived. And living a portal is an act of spiritual courage. Trust in the invisible. It's saying yes to the unknown. It is stripping away the old certainties and allowing something new to be born within you. The energy of 2222 is here. She pulses. She calls. She waits. But it doesn't wait forever. She moves. And if you don't move with her, she will follow. Because the flow of creation never stops. He dances with those who are ready. He builds with whom he gives himself. He reveals who he chooses to see with. The choice is yours. It always has been. It always will be. But now, more than ever, she carries a different weight. A weight of destiny. Because by going through that portal, you don't just change your life. You change your frequency. And when its frequency changes, everything changes with it, and it is at this point that most hesitate between the impulse of the soul that wants to move forward and the fear of the ego that wants to keep everything as it is. Portal 2222 does not invite for a superficial change. It requires a structural transformation. He does not come to adjust details. He comes to reshape the base. And that's why so many flee, even unconsciously. Because to feel this calling means to admit that something inside you is outdated. It means recognizing that the certainties that have sustained us so far may now be the same ones that imprison us. And the ego fears the loss of these structures. He fears the emptiness that precedes the new. He fears the silence that precedes true awakening. But the soul already knows. She always knew. She knows that the number 2, repeated 4 times, is not just a mathematical sequence. It is a vibration of reconciliation, union with the higher self, alignment between heaven and earth within one's own being. She knows that this portal carries the energy of divine partnership, of collaboration with the invisible, of co-creation with Source. And when this energy touches the soul, it can no longer be content with a small life. You can't pretend you don't feel it anymore. He can no longer deny the existence of a call that pulses silently behind every gesture, every thought, every sigh. Ignoring 2222 is like falling asleep at the very moment when the aurora begins to dawn on the horizon. It's like going back to deep sleep when the whole universe is moving to wake you up. And this sleep has a price. It slows down the cycle of the soul. It slows down growth. It prevents gifts from being activated, visions from being integrated, connections from being restored. Because every portal is, in essence, a bridge between dimensions of consciousness. And by not crossing that bridge, the soul remains stuck on the ancient shore, observing from afar the life it could have lived, the reality it could have created, the version it could have incarnated. But there is something even deeper in this process, something that is not often talked about, the impact that this choice or the absence of it has on our spiritual contracts. Each incarnated being on this earth brings with them sacred pacts, soul agreements made before birth, missions that can only be fulfilled at certain points in time. Portal 2222 is one such point. It activates specific contracts with people, places, experiences that were programmed to happen exactly in that cycle. When we ignore this call, we postpone these meetings. We interrupt the cosmic dance that was orchestrated to guide us to the next level of our path. And often this postponement manifests itself as existential loneliness, as if nothing, nor anyone, could reach us in that place from which we disconnected.